Hey everyone, and welcome to this week's Family Ministry Moment. My name is Manu. I'm the family pastor at UMC of the Palm Beaches, and welcome to all the folks who are just joining us this week, whether it's on our email newsletter or on this YouTube channel. Glad to have you aboard. And we're in the midst of the Christmas season. Well, technically Advent season for those of you liturgical folks out there. But we're entering a time where we're really gearing up towards the celebration of Christmas, not just here at the church, but for everybody at home. I'm sure you guys are all very excited for all the stuff going on in your families and in your houses, and I'm sure the decorations are going up and folks are making lots of plans. I know I have lots of family coming in on my family, and we have so many plans happening, and I'm sure each of you may have something going on, whether it's something really intimate or something big and grand. I'm sure each of you is planning something for the Christmas season. And so as we're getting ready for this time over the next few weeks, I'm going to be doing just kind of a Christmas Devo over the next couple weeks as we actually leading up to Christmas Eve. And I wanted to this week focus on kind of the angels that come through the different stories of the Christmas story. And the first one I wanted to talk about was actually not the ones that we all think about. We think about, the angel that visits Joseph and the angel that visits Mary. We've all heard of that one and how Mary's told about her story. But I want to focus on the very first story with the angel and the Christmas story. And it's not actually part of, I guess, the main characters, but it's actually the story of Elizabeth and Zachariah. Elizabeth and Zachariah are, Elizabeth is Mary's cousin, and she's a little bit older, quite a bit older than Mary. And her and Zachariah, their story starts with, and it's kind of a tragic one in the beginning, their story starts with the idea that they can't actually have kids. And the angel comes to them and says, "You're gonna have kids." And it's a strange moment because up until this point, Elizabeth and Zachariah had thought they weren't able to have children. And I mean, for those of us who've ever gone through that, or some of you are still going through that, you know that's a really hard thing to go through, especially if you want to start a family or want to have kids rather. That's a really hard thing to go through. And whether it's a physical thing, a mental and emotional thing, that's one aspect of it. But in their day, people would have considered that to be almost like a punishment given by God, maybe for sins that your forefathers had committed, or maybe it's for something that's deep inside your heart that God sees and you don't know. And it's in those days they considered a tragedy like that to be something that God puts on you. Could you imagine feeling that way as Elizabeth and Zachariah are struggling with having children, and they feel like the God that they love basically is punishing them for not being able to have, punishing them, telling them they're not able to have kids? That's a really harsh thing to think about, that the God that loves you also persecutes you, or at least when we go through a punishment, it feels like persecution. And have you ever been in the midst of that? Have you ever been in that moment where you feel like everything around you is falling apart, or your world is just crumbling, or maybe you're going through a really difficult time this Christmas season? Maybe you were going through a difficult time just in life, and thinking that the God who loves you has, for all intents and purposes, forsaken you, given up on you. That's a really hard thing to think about. But that's where Elizabeth and Zachariah were. And I know that for most of us, probably all of us, I don't assume that an angel is going to show up and tell us, "Hey, you're going to be okay." Kind of wish that would happen. I kind of wish God would send an angel or a messenger and tell us everything's going to be all right, like he did for Elizabeth and Zachariah. He told them that everything's going to be okay. You're going to have a baby. And as we do know that, the stories tell us that baby ends up being Jesus's cousin, and it becomes John the Baptist and paves the way for Christ. And that's an amazing story. I don't know if that's how things are going to play out for you or for me through the crises, through the struggles that we go through. I don't know how that's going to work out, but I do know that during Christmas, we are reminded that God does love each and every single one of us. And though that love is shown in different ways, like it is for each of the characters within the story of Jesus' birth, God still loves each person equally, whether it's through an angel that shows up and shares a message, whether it's a star that leads them, or whether it's actually the baby being born in a manger. God shows his love to each and every single one of us through that miracle. And that's something that I cling to, not just through Christmas, but throughout my faith. I'm reminded that God does love me even through the struggle. And I hope that that can give you a little bit of hope, a little bit of reassurance this Christmas season, that even through the struggles, God still loves us. So I hope to be able to connect with you this Christmas season. Services here at our church are going to be a little bit different over the course of this month. If you're seeing this this week, this is the first week of December. Our first service is actually going to be at 10 o'clock. It's our one service Sunday. We're going to have communion together, and then we will have lunch afterwards. And I think we're also going to be decorating the campus a little bit. So if you stick around, we're going to be doing that a bit on this Sunday, the first Sunday, December. And the rest of the month, we're going to be having one service as well. It'll be our 11:15 service happening the rest of the month. We will be having a Sunday school hour before that, a small group hour before that at 10 o'clock. So you can join us for that, hang out, maybe meet some new people. And if you've got children or youth, or if you like to get connected to a Bible study, we've got options for all folks at 10 o'clock every Sunday. And then, of course, I'm reminding you all month long, we do have Christmas Eve service this Christmas Eve at 6 o'clock on the 24th. So I hope to connect with all of you sometime during this Christmas season. Come say hi if I don't already know you. If I do already know you, I hope to connect with you this Sunday. My name is Manu, signing off.